Have you guys ever wondered before the same pose can only be done by a pretty woman or an anime character, but when a dude does this, yeah, looks kind of wrong. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven today with a low budget scale figure review from a brand that I am reviewing for the second time. The name is Figmon. I reviewed their big Opie 1x4 scale Bunny Anna like 6 months ago, and now they have released their second 1x4 scale figure, and this thing is unique. It is exceptional, and I would even compare this to the very best budget 1x4 scale figures by Bear Panda or Animaster. And I would even go as far to say that this figure is rivaling the great 1x4 scale figures by Japanese brands like Freeing. Yes, she is that good. So this Dark Elf Nurse Bennett over here, I got her from Taobao, right? China's largest shopping website, because she came out earlier, October release 2025 in China, late November for everyone else who purchased her from a Japanese website. So with Taobao, as usual, there is the language barrier. The whole website is in Chinese, and some sellers do not ship to overseas customers. So if you're looking to buy anime figures from Taobao or any Chinese website for the matter, you need a proxy service, and this is where this channel's preferred proxy service comes in, Superbuy. Superbuy is a service where you can make use of their search engine to buy anime figures or literally anything else from Taobao. Copy and paste any link from Taobao into their search engine, and you will be able to purchase it easily. And then you can go on and buy multiple items from different sellers. All of them will be shipped to Superbuy's warehouse, where you can combine ship them to save more on shipping cost. And then there are additional value-added services that you can go for if you want to make sure that your anime figure arrives in pristine condition, no damaged boxes or damaged anime figures. You can request for additional detailed photographs. You can purchase EPE foam packaging to protect your anime figures, or even corner protectors, or even waterproof plastic packaging. If you're interested in signing up for a free account, please do make use of my link down in the description below. And when you sign up for a free account today with my link, you will receive 560 Chinese yuan in your account, which can be used for your first shipping, your first order. So signing up, the process is completely free. There's no reason not to sign up for one account. And you don't really have to take my word for it. You can head over to their subreddit r/superbuy to check out reviews and feedback from other users, tens of thousands of them over there, and they also have a customer representative ready to answer your questions. So thanks a lot to Superbuy for sponsoring today's video, this figure review right here, and we shall get back to the review over here, right? We are looking at Figmon's 1x4 scale Dark Elf Nurse Bennett. Her name is actually Nurse Bennett, but I'm calling it Dark Elf regardless. 399 Chinese yuan, or the Japanese price is 12,000 yen. Yeah, 12k for a 1x4 scale. And regarding the dimensions of this figure, the height, right, from the bottom of the base to the top of her barrette over here is 20 centimeters roughly. Meanwhile, the depth or the length of the figure, front to back, front of her head to the back of her left foot over here, 26 centimeters. So this is the nice thing about 1x4 scale figures that are sitting or kneeling position like this one. They don't feel very big, right? And that means the box is not too big either, so she won't be too expensive to ship. So speaking of the box, this is what it looks like, and this is a very pretty box. The size of the box is roughly the same as a typical 1x7 scale anime figure, even though she's 1x4. So yes, very pretty box. In fact, the design is very nice and pretty tough too, right? This is a much nicer box than the Kawa design figure I reviewed last week. So the box for this, for low budget figure, is a solid 10 out of 10. I love this box. There is almost no assembly required straight out of the box, except for this one barrette over here on top of her head. And this is the biggest surprise to me. I wasn't expecting a magnet in a 12,000 yen low budget 1x4 scale figure. Initially, I was expecting this part to be permanently glued to her head, or if not, maybe a pack, right? Where there is a hole on her head and then you plug it in, but instead we got magnets. And this is not a weak magnet, this is a fairly secure one. Of course, there are third-party resin figures out there using way stronger magnets, but this is more than good enough for a figure like this. Will there be any paint transfer issues, you know? They are in direct contact, right, with the head over here. So I have a black color spot on top of the head of this figure over here, but I would imagine that this happened during manufacturing or something. We will get into that in the painting department later on. But one thing to note is that this part is very glossy. There is a gloss coat around it, so I don't expect any paint transfer to end up on top of her head over here, even though this is black color and the head is white color because of this coating over here, right? And speaking of the stability of this figure, this is perhaps the biggest weakness of this figure. It does not take much to knock the figure over, as you can see. Just a little bit of shake and the figure topples over very easily. This is the biggest problem of this figure and perhaps the only major weakness. So it feels like the weight balance of this figure is not very good, you know. Maybe they should have moved her right knee forwards a little bit more. I don't know, but yeah, be careful. If you are displaying this figure maybe at the corner of your shelf and it is an open shelf, be careful not to knock her over where she might end up on the floor. So the stability score of this figure is very low, maybe 2 out of 10. Yeah, 2 or 3 out of 10 maximum, right? But do remember that this is the biggest weakness of this figure, and from this point onwards, everything else is good news. So we move on to the sculpting department of this figure, and I think this is where this figure deserves a score of 9.5 out of 10, or even a perfect 10 out of 10, considering the price point, of course. It is not the most detailed 1x4 scale figure ever, but at the same time, it is not a Barney girl, you know. It is a very fan servicey kind of nurse outfit in black color. In real life, you won't see a nurse revealing so much skin, obviously. And this is like replicating a scene you'll see in maybe H anime where you are the patient, you are lying on the bed, and then this hot nurse happens to climb on top of you. Maybe because you're actually dating her. Something like that. So this kind of pose is very relatable. As long as you watch a lot of anime. And it is also the kind of pose where you will want to display this figure higher up on the shelf, not the lower levels, higher levels, because this figure looks best when you're looking at her from a lower angle from below, right? And this is where her face really shines, because if you compare her face to the official product pictures by Figmon, they look identical. The face is a 10 out of 10. And it looks very seductive. The skin color, the skin tone, the tongue sticking out, everything is perfectly executed. This is an exceptionally beautiful figure that if you told me this is a 25 or 30,000 yen 1x4 scale figure, I might have believed you. It is that good, right? So combining her perfect face with the pose over here, and then there is also the body sculpt both in front and behind. There is literally nothing to fault this figure for in the sculpt department, you know. No ugly gaps or seam lines, no mold lines, no excess glue leaking out from two parts that were glued together. Everything is put together to perfection. So the sculpt is like a bare minimum of 9.5 out of 10. This is a really high praise coming from me. And this is like a big step up from Figmon's first 1x4 scale, Barney Anna. So going by this part alone, the sculpting and the face, she already comes as highly recommended. The only question left is that what is the paint work like? So this is also mostly good news. Her outfit is very glossy, which means it will be very difficult to scratch it. And there is no paint transfer, paint bleeding or scratches along the detail parts. For example, on the side of her body and on her outfit, there are some gold color trims over there which looks very precisely painted. No different from any premium figures from Japan. So the painting is also top notch. There is a heavy dose of shading if you pay attention. It is not plain black color like some areas of the outfit, the black will fade ever slightly into dark grey color, things like that. There is heavy shading everywhere you look, be it her outfit or her stockings or her skin. The tanned skin over here, the brown skin, there is also some shading. There is some pink color, some darker browns along the edges over here. So all is good. Beautiful paint work coming from Figmon. And earlier in today's video, I did mention about a black spot on top of her head. That is the only flaw I can find right up here. So you're looking at it on screen right now. This is something that probably happened during manufacturing in factory, right? I don't think this is a paint transfer coming from the barrette over here. When I was displaying this figure in my studio for the past couple of weeks, the past month, I don't think it came from this, because there is a very thick glossy layer of coating on the black paint to protect it. So there's no way the paint came from here onto the top of her head. It has to come from somewhere else, most likely in factory. So this one over here, not a big deal, because I can always hide it with her barrette, or maybe use Mr. Hobby's leveling thinner to remove it. I think it is possible to remove it, but I'll just leave it the way it is because she is already almost perfect. So the paint work over here is like a solid 9 out of 10 as well. If that black spot is not on her head, 9.5. And moving on to the last part of this review, which would be this fluffy base over here, very similar to the one we got from Kawa Design last week. A different figure, but there is a major difference, right? The Kawa Design 1x4 scale Barney Feina or Hina, that was a cheaper 1x4 scale compared to this one, cheaper by half actually. So the fluffy base we got on that figure, it is like thinner in material and felt a lot cheaper. This feels higher quality in comparison. So nice base, no complaints from me. And once again, a reminder for everyone, always put your figure on a base even if she does not require it, because you do not want paint transfer or any scratches to happen with the surface of your shelf or table, right? So the base, I'm giving it, yeah, an 8 out of 10, I suppose. Good enough, especially at this price point. So arriving at the conclusion of today's figure review, can I recommend this Dark Elf Nurse Bennett figure? It is a big, massive yes. I was so shocked by the level of polish, the level of quality of this 1x4 scale figure, and I would even go as far to say that if you are the kind who looks down on low budget figures, well, maybe because you have limited space, you do not want to waste your precious display space on cheap stuff, I will still tell you to buy this figure just to see it for yourself what you are missing out on. Because for a low budget figure, this thing is a level or two above the others that I reviewed. Yeah. And that is already a very high bar being set by companies like Bear Panda or Animaster when it comes to excellent 1x4 skills. Yet this one impressed me so much. It feels like it is slightly better than a few of the older Bear Panda 1x4 scale figures I've reviewed in the past. Slightly better. So that is saying quite something over there. So this figure is an easy recommendation. If you see one in stock or you have been targeting her for a while, buy one as quickly as you can, because who knows what will happen, right? So I hope that you found this review to be helpful and informative. If it is, please give this video a like, subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content and weird video thumbnails, I suppose. And until then, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.